Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So today we're heading to Modern to check out a deck built around one of my all-time favorite planeswalkers, Tezzeret, Agent of Bolas. This is Tezzerator. Recently took Ray Thomas to a top 8 finish at a SCG Modern IQ, so congrats to Ray on their finish with the deck. A quick reminder before we break it all down, if you enjoy this deck and you want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular has a shot at being made into videos next week. So this deck is built to maximize the power of Tezzeret, Agent of Bolas, one of the most powerful planeswalkers that doesn't see consistent play. The downside, the problem with Tezzeret is Tezzeret really needs an artifact deck, so its homes are fairly limited. You really need a lot of artifacts to make it good, but in the right deck, Tezzeret is one of the more powerful planeswalkers ever printed. +1, you get to look at the top 5 cards of your library, grab an artifact, put it in your hand, so it generates card advantage. Also in this deck, it can be used to set up some combos. -1, you turn an artifact into a 5/5 artifact creature. This deck plays some cards specifically to abuse with this -1, and then -3, you get to drain for X2 the number of artifacts you have. So if you have 5 artifacts, you drain your opponent for 10, gain 10. If you have 10 artifacts, you drain for 20, gain 20. So it's a good way to close out the game, and it only takes 1+ to be able to ultimate, so it ultimates really quickly. So as far as the -1, the deck has a few creatures. They look a little weird. Vault Scourge, a 1/1 flyer for 1 and a Phyrexian black mana, so you can cast it on turn 1. It has lifelink though, and the reason this is in the deck is with Tezzeret's -1, if you target a Vault Scourge, you essentially build your own Baneslayer Angel. You end up with a 5/5 flying lifelink for 1 mana once you -1 Tezzeret on it. Spellskite is mostly there for value, but it gets pretty scary when it turns into a 5/5, and Darksteel Citadel is a land that is an artifact and it's indestructible. So if you target that with Tezzeret's -1, you end up with a 5/5 indestructible beater that pretty much only dies to Dismember, and Path to Exile dodges all the other removal in the format. So really powerful with the -1. The +1, it generates value, it finds your Vault Scourges, all that stuff, but really it helps you set up the Thopter Foundry Sword of the Meek combo. So we've talked about this a few times before. Essentially, if you can get a Thopter Foundry on the battlefield and a Sword of the Meek on the battlefield, or even in your graveyard in some situations, you can just repeatedly sack the Sword of the Meek for every mana you have and make a 1/1 Thopter. You gain a bunch of life. This isn't an infinite combo, but it's a combo where every turn you're getting 5, 6, 1/1 flyers, gaining 5 or 6 life. So over the course of 2 or 3 turns, you just generate enough flyers that you can kill your opponent. So Tezzeret finds both halves of that. And then the spiciest part of the deck is the deck also has Time Sieve, which allows you to go infinite with the Sword of the Meek Thopter Foundry combo. Time Sieve is only a 1/of, but you get to sack 5 artifacts to take an extra turn. So if you get Thopter Foundry and Sword of the Meek and at least 5 mana, you can make 5 Thopters every turn, sack those Thopters to Time Sieve to take an extra turn. You're drawing your cards, you're building up your mana, so once you get this locked in, you just take all the turns. Eventually you're making more Thopters than you need to sack to take the extra turn, and you win the game that way, or you just win by ultimating Tezzeret eventually. The rest of the deck has a few more artifacts. Talisman of Dominance lets you ramp into your Tezzeret. Executioner's Capsule is removal that can be found with Tezzeret, and so is Engineered Explosive. Sweeps away a bunch of little things. There's some more removal that's not artifact based. Black Sun Zenith is a Wrath, takes care of a whole bunch of creatures, works well against persist creatures, for example, by putting -1/-1 counters on them. Dismember and Go for the Throat can kill just about anything. And then 4 Thirst for Knowledge lets you cycle through your deck. As far as the mana base, most of it's straightforward. Academy Ruins lets you get back artifacts from the graveyard, so if you discard them to Thirst for Knowledge or your opponent kills your Thopter Foundry, you have a way of getting them back. Ghost Quarter deals with Tron pieces, creature lands. Darkslake Shores is a dual. The rest of the land, we have a bunch of shocks in basics, and then some fetchable lands. The white is for just 1 sideboard card, nothing in the main deck for the white mana. As far as the sideboard, we get some removal encounters. Disfigure, helpful on turn 1 against Goblin Guides, against all the aggressive creatures that come out in Modern. Counter Squall and Negate, deal with non-creature permanents. Grafdigger's Cage and Nile Spellbomb can be found by Tezzeret, deal with the graveyard, help against Collected Company. Pithing Needle, Torpor Orb, and Snaring Bridge, more artifacts to find with Tezzeret. Specific answers, Pithing Needle can get planeswalkers, Torpor Orb shuts down a lot of random creatures and some combos in Modern. And then the white card we mentioned earlier, Timely Reinforcements, really key against aggressive decks, gain you back some life, sometimes get you some chump blockers, so that's why the couple of Godless Shrines were in the deck. And that is Tezzerator for Modern. The deck looks super sweet. I just love Tezzeret Agent of Bolas so much, so it's exciting to see a deck in Modern actually performing with Tezzeret. Anyway, that's been our Instant Deck Tech for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon.